Saturday to you. Thought I would go live here from Norwegian Gym just to give my first impressions, somewhat of a review, and answer questions that you may have about Norwegian Gym. If you didn't see any of my posts from yesterday, I'm currently sailing on board Norwegian Gym, which is not a new ship to Norwegian, but it is a new cruise ship sailing out of Jacksonville, Florida. If you don't know, Jacksonville, Florida is home for me. Although I don't live there, I haven't lived there in 15 years, but it is still home for me. So I had to get on board the first sailing out of Jacksonville just to give Norwegian Gem a try, but also to test out Norwegian Gem because I have a group sailing on board Norwegian Gem in June 2027 going to Greece. And so I wanted to hop on board just to give it a test run, and then also to welcome it to my home city. But I have a few thoughts initially. I've been on board since yesterday. This is a 3-day cruise, very short cruise. Now, they won't offer any other 3-day cruises. Um, the next few sailings will be 4 and 5 nights going to the Bahamas. We are currently docked in Grand Bahamas or Freeport, but I'm not getting off the ship, or I didn't get off the ship. We're here from 11 to 8, but decided not to get off the ship. Been here several times, didn't feel like catching a cab anywhere. So I figured I would stay on the ship today. But welcome into everyone. I'm just going to give, I guess, first impressions, my review of Norwegian Gem. If you are new here, please like this video, consider subscribing, all of that good stuff. This is cruise number 81 for me since 2019. And I have quite a few more cruises coming up here soon. So you want to make sure you're following along so you get all that cruise content. I hope you can hear and see me okay. I'm sitting inside. I came to the mojito bar thinking I was going to get a mojito, but it's not open right now. So I wanted to get away from the crowd, away from the noise because the pool deck is loud. They're playing a movie in the atriums. They have two small atriums. They're playing a movie, Beetlejuice, and it's just loud everywhere. So I figured I'd come here where it's kind of quiet, to just give my initial impression. So welcome in, Erica. Appreciate you being here. Team Reese Travels, welcome in, and thank you so much for being a channel member. Hope your Saturday is going well. Lida Shay, welcome in. Thank you for being here. Lizzie Simmons, another channel member. Hello to you. Hanging with the Hordes, welcome in, welcome in. Another channel member. Appreciate you being here. Shell Travel says, happy Saturday, ready for the tea. Yes. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start talking with New Jix Travel Adventures. That's a new name. Welcome in, welcome in. It says, let's go number 81. Yes, cruise number 81. Let's, yes, cruise number 81. Let's see. Let me angle this way. There we go. Kind of keep him out of there. There we go. Um, so ready for the taste. So let's just start with Embarkation because I did get some questions about Embarkation out of Jacksonville. It was a long process, but with it being Norwegian's first time out of Jacksonville, I kind of expected it to be a little longer. It took about 45 minutes from the time, and I arrived early. So Norwegian doesn't have like where you select an arrival time. They just have an arrival window. No, actually, we take that back. Did I select the time at check-in? I think I might have selected a time at check-in, but when you arrived, there weren't like any signs or anything telling you, um, like other cruise lines will have like 10:30, 11 o'clock. They'll have signs. They had no signs or anything. So I can't even remember. Did I select the check-in time? Anyways, it was open boarding. So by the time I got there, probably around 11:45, it was already pretty busy. Let's see. Yeah, it was already pretty busy. So um, yeah, it took 45 minutes. So long process out of Jacksonville. If you've never cruised out of Jacksonville, it is like standing room only in their terminal. So it's very similar to Tampa, I'm thinking, if I'm recalling correctly, where it's kind of like a small warehouse of some sort. And there's one small section of seats, but not really. So most terminals, you're kind of staged in different areas. This one, as soon as you walk up, you show them your boarding pass. You go through, they scan your face for your passport recognition, and then you get in another line, go through security, get in another line to do your official check-in, and then you get on the ship. So there's no like sitting area for you to sit before boarding. So you board as soon as you get there. Let's see, who else do we have here? Event Yours is Spirits. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you so much for being a channel member. Appreciate you being here. Life with Us TV. Thank you too for being here. Happy Saturday. I hope you two are doing well. Appreciate you popping in. Your favorite couple, welcome in, welcome in. Thank you so much for being channel members. Appreciate you two being here as well. Event Yours of Spirit says, we've never left out of Jacksonville. Charleston, yes, but not Jacksonville. Now, you know, Charleston, they don't have any cruise ships right now, but yes, Jacksonville. Charleston was small as well. Yes. And I have never cruised out of Charleston, so that was different. Um, so Embarkation just kind of plan to stand. So if you are someone that requires assistance, make sure you get your travel agent to notate that on your booking, because they did have a separate lane for that, and they had seats lined up for those guests to sit, and they kind of escort you through. So if you are Haven or high priority with Norwegian, they did have a separate line. So like I said, it was about 45 minutes. I can imagine that after um, they kind of get the groove of cruising out of Jacksonville, it'll probably go quicker. But 45 minutes for me was kind of long, but not complaining, because again, it was the first sailing out of Jacksonville. Speaking of cruising out of Jacksonville, just so you know, they are only cruising seasonally out of Jacksonville. So they're cruising between now and April. And then I think Jim is going back to Europe, either Europe or Alaska, one of the two. And then it'll come back to Jacksonville. So if you're trying to get on it from Jacksonville, you might want to do it sooner than later, or start planning for 2027. Michelle says, happy Saturday, Florida resident that never sailed out of Jax or Tampa. There's not many ships. I mean, Jacksonville, you have Carnival Relation. Now you have Norwegian Gem. Out of Tampa, you have Margaritaville at Sea. You have Carnival Paradise. And you have one of Royal Caribbean's older ships. Might even have an NCL ship out of there. So yeah, right now out of Jacksonville, it's just Carnival Elation, which is year round, and then now Norwegian Gem. So that's why everyone's excited for this. Okay, so Embarkation, 45 minutes, like I said. Just kind of plan accordingly for that. The ride, if you're flying in, I did fly in the morning of the cruise. And so it's about a 20-minute ride from Jacksonville Airport. I will tell you that the Uber situation there is not the best. I waited probably 30 minutes for an Uber, and I even did like the priority Uber or Lyft or whatever I did, and it still took forever. So I don't know if that's like an ongoing thing. I rarely have to get an Uber when I do come home, because I normally drive home or what have you. But um, yeah, so be mindful of that. Norwegian does have transfers. So if you want to get transfers to and from the airport, they do offer those. I think they were about $20. So might be cheaper to do that than the Uber, because my Uber was like 30 something dollars. So what else? Okay, so once I got on the ship, cabins were ready as soon as I got on the ship. And I can't recall if that's always the thing with Norwegian, where you get your key card in the terminal, but they did give me my key card in the terminal, and then I went straight to my cabin. So by the time I got on 12:15ish or so, my cabin was ready, went straight to my cabin. Now again, this is an older ship. It is 18 or 19 years old. Um, the ship itself is well maintained. The cabin is might be where you're going to see some aging. And guys, I'm gonna give you guys all everything the way I feel about it. Again, I always tell people these are my thoughts, my opinion, and I'm gonna just share with you. You'll see it in the vlogs, things that I like, things I don't like about it. I've been very vocal to say that Norwegian has not been my favorite cruise line over time, and I get that question all the time. Well, why isn't it? And people have to understand that I've been on so many cruises, so many cruise lines, that everyone can't be top. So there's going to be something with some cruise line that I'm just not going to like. And for me, Norwegian consistently kind of just falls flat for me. Now, the question that I got a couple times yesterday is, but why are you going to Greece with the group? So I want to answer that. I select my cruises not based off ships. I select based off itineraries. If you are following, we just got off of Celestial Journey with a group in Greece. Had 42 people on that sailing, had an amazing time. And that was a 30-year-old ship, so even older. But we weren't cruising because of the ship. We were cruising because of the itinerary. We had long port days, like think docking at 8 a.m. and leaving at 2 a.m. Long port days. So when the people that are cruising with me, they understand that that's how I cruise. I'm all about the itinerary and less of the ship. The reason I selected Norwegian was because of their itinerary to Greece. I will be also on that same itinerary in May to test that out. Um, but so just so you understand that that's why. So, me sharing my thoughts, there are going to be some things that maybe somebody in my group, they're not going to like to hear. They may cancel. That's their prerogative. But I always like to be open and honest about my experience and what I feel and kind of, my take on things. And you can make a decision based off whatever. I always tell people though, make sure you get out, experience things for yourself. Don't just, take my advice or take other cruise content creator or travel advisors or creators' advice. Get out there, try it for yourself because we all have different preferences and everything's subjective. So just want to put that out there. Let's see here. Um, but welcome into everyone that's here. Appreciate you guys being here. Um, Esther says, looking forward to hear how well it is going to work out for our Greece trip. Yes, and you are booked for Greece. I think it's going to work out wonderfully, and I'll get into more of that in a little bit. Um, Tom says the gym is actually moving to Tampa for the fall of 2026, and the Dawn will be replacing it in Jacksonville. Interesting. And I think the Dawn is older than the gym, isn't it? I didn't know that. Welcome in Elisa's Adventures in Cruising. Appreciate you being here. Yes, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Michelle. Let's see. Okay. All right. Says definitely need to catch a trip with you soon. Yeah, so our Greece 2027 is completely sold out. We have 55 cabins booked for that for that sailing. So, and there may be a couple cancellations after I share my blog, but let me get into more of it. But the cabin. So the cabin itself, for it being an older ship, I have an inside cabin, interior cabin. I will post a reel later on today showing that. It is functional, but there aren't any outlets. There's one outlet. So I know that some people that's a problem. There aren't any like USB ports. Some ships that are older, they don't have a lot of electrical outlets. They've started adapting by putting like lamps that might have USB. Like I know Carnival does that all the time. They don't have anything. So it's strictly just one outlet. So you're going to have to make sure you have some sort of adapter. I think that's the case for all cabins. The bed was very comfortable. I like how there's like a little desk thing that I can pull out to work, which was wonderful. The bathroom, when they had the refit, this ship used to have curtains. Now they have glass doors. I appreciate that. What I don't like about the bathroom is for me, it has a little smell to it. Not like a nasty, like pissy smell or anything like that. Like it has like wood grain. So because it's an older ship, it's wood grain in the shower. And so I think like just the smell of the wood or whatever is a little icky to me. But other than that, the cabin has been fine. You have a small television, but the cabin will work. For Greece, I think we have ocean view cabins. I don't think we even did balconies for that, but we'll see. So cabin. Let me see what else I want to talk about first. The food. Let's just get right into the food because I know a lot of people are wondering about that. So the food, but yes, welcome in to you guys watching. I was trying to go live on Facebook as well to bring. We had about 100 or so people watching yesterday when I was walking the ship, but reception's kind of spotty in areas. My mic went out yesterday, and so I couldn't even get on Facebook to go live. So I just figured I'd go live here on YouTube. That's why I can't pop your comments or anything on there. So the food. This has always been my thing with Norwegian, and I've heard this in other vlogs. I've heard other people say this. I've had clients say this. The food is very hit or miss. And again, I've only been on board for a day, so I still have a few more days to go. Also, keep in mind if you're going to Greece and you're watching this, it will be a different experience in Greece. I say this because you're probably going to get a little bit more Greek style food. The crew may even be different. And then the vibe of a 3-night sailing, you're not going to have that for a 7-night sailing. So as I start talking other things, like as far as the crowd and things like that, just keep in mind that that may not be the case that won't be the case for Greece. So the food, just gonna put it out there, the buffet absolutely sucks. It just does. Um, so I walked through the buffet yesterday. I think I might have shared a video or walked through when I was live. So the buffet is really small, but the way they have it set up on this ship is that right by the pool, there is like a spot where you go get burgers, hot dogs, chicken, things like that right there, and a bar. So you have like a mini buffet outside there. Then you go inside and you have your regular buffet. It is small for the capacity of the ship. So this ship can hold 2,300 people. The actual buffet itself, I feel, is pretty small. Now it's wide space. They have wide space for you to pass people or what have you, but there's just like one section of everything. Um, and then they have lots and lots of seating. It's almost like they need to cut out some of the seating and add another like buffet there inside. But there is like a secret back buffet that you can go to that's usually not crowded. They have some of the same things just on a smaller scale. The food for me at the buffet, and this is for breakfast and for lunch, Carnival's buffet beats it. And I know some people are like, I don't like Carnival's buffet, and I've heard it from several people, and I don't know whether I don't recall it being like this on other Norwegian ships, but it just was not good. This morning I went for breakfast, and you'll see this in the vlogs. I went for breakfast. I was excited because they had omelet stations, but this is how you know that they don't have enough options or that the buffet's small. They literally had 4 omelet stations in that small breakfast spot. And that was because really all you had to choose from was omelets. They had like some potatoes, a bread station, yogurt, and then like grits and cream of wheat and things like that. That was really it. Like there wasn't a station. They did have pancakes somewhere, and they had pretty much the same thing out back. Well, I was like, okay, well they have plenty of omelet stations. Let me get an omelet. Well, I went out back to get my omelet, and this is probably just the crew member that was cooking. He made my omelet, and he couldn't make the omelet. So I told him, I said, hey, just scramble it up. Well, he scrambled it up. By the time he handed it to me, it was still raw. And I'll show that to you in the vlog. So I couldn't eat that. So I was like, well, maybe let me go inside and see if someone else can make me um, an omelet. And so I left that omelet, went inside to get another omelet. And I was looking at you know how they put the eggs in like a container. They had the eggs in the container and they looked lumpy. So I asked the guy, I said, why do the eggs look like that? And sometimes those eggs are powdered eggs or sometimes they are real eggs that they just kind of, mixed up or whatever. Usually it's real eggs that they mix up. Um, and I said, why does that look lumpy? And he said it was frozen. So you freeze eggs? So I was like, I'll pass on that. So then I said, well, can I have just 2 eggs over medium well? And he said, oh, we don't fry eggs. I said, oh, you don't fry eggs? And he said, no. He said, if you want fried eggs, you have to go to the main dining room. So I decided to go to the main dining room for breakfast, hands down, 10 times better than the buffet. They had some of the same options on the buffet as they did in the main dining room, but they had a few extra things at the main dining room, hands down 10 times better than the buffet. So just putting it out there that my experience so far with the buffet just has not been great, especially not for Embarkation Day. I will try out the buffet later on today and tomorrow again just to see if it changes. So just kind of know that the buffet for me is not up to par with other cruise lines. And so I'll leave it there. But I will say this, and this is kind of my pet peeve with Norwegian because I've heard this from other people. It's almost as if their food quality has cut back because they have their More at Sea program, which is going to give you um, specialty dining, some specialty dining depending on the length of your sailing, some Wi-Fi, drinks, which I'll talk about drinks in a minute because drinks have been very, very impressive. Um, so they have it to where you can specialty dining, and then you can pay for specialty dining a la carte. It's almost as if their included food has taken a few notches down, and it's almost like in an attempt to get you to pay for specialty dining. Specialty dining that I've had so far has been excellent. Well, I've only had one. I was at Orchid Garden, I think it is. It's their Asian restaurant. Delicious, absolutely delicious last night. The food was plentiful. I was too stuffed. Like the food was really, really good. Tonight I'll be at Cagney Steakhouse, and then tomorrow I'm going to the main dining room. But seems like specialty dining is where it's at, and I've talked to a few other people, and they're kind of agreeing with me. I also went to what is it, Oceans today. Now Oceans is their pub on board, and it's complimentary. I think they're only open for lunch or maybe early dinner. Um, that was good. Let me say this, that was good minus the wings. The wings were very flavorful. I couldn't eat them though because they were rubbery. So you know how the skin, like if you don't, I don't think they fry the wings. I think they bake them, but they don't roast them to kind of get that fat to. If you're a cook, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm just rambling. Let me see who else is here. Let's see here. Your favorite couple, Lisa's Adventures and Cruise Bolero. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. Everyone speaking to Life with Us TV and Light a Shade says, Esther says, I'm also more for the itinerary. Did MSC Divina for my Mediterranean for that reason. Absolutely. And I think because I cruise on so many cruise ships, I don't cruise for the food. I don't cruise for some people, but I, I, I respect and recognize that people cruise for different reasons. There are some people that cruise for food. They're foodies. If you are a foodie, I would not recommend Norwegian. If you are a foodie, I would recommend Explore Journeys. I would recommend maybe Virgin Voyages. So, you know, as I have clients reaching out to me and I'm understanding kind of what their cruising style is, I make recommendations based off that. So I would not say come to Norwegian if you are a foodie, you'll find something you like, but it's not like over the top good food. But yes, definitely cruise for the itinerary. We did MSC Virtuosa, MSC. Oh, actually, I did Virtuosa too, out of the Caribbean. 7 nights, 7 ports, beautiful. Did MSC, another MSC Grandiosa out of Europe. That was amazing. So yeah, I cruise for the itineraries. Let's see here. Welcome in Savvy Voyages. Appreciate you being here. Happy Saturday. Brenda Walker from Atlanta. Thank you so much for being here. Gaynell says, good afternoon. I'm also about the itinerary. Absolutely. And thank you for being a channel member. Miss Bree Brizzle, welcome in. Thank you so much for being a channel member. Savvy Voyages says, oh boy, I'm nervous after listening to this. I'll be on NCL Jewel on Tuesday. Thanks for your honest take as always, RacQuelle. I'm curious to hear your impressions. And guys, be sure to follow Savvy Voyages. She's also a cruise content creator. So yeah, I'm curious to see your thoughts. Now, like I said, the other food outside of the buffet has been great, but I'll be very honest. I'll even put this out there. The breakfast buffet this morning, I've had better on Margaritaville at Sea. I'll just leave that at there, right there. Um, let's see here. Might put this TV speaking. Barnes on the Go says, hey, Rico, will you be on the inaugural sailing of Celebrity XL? I will not be. I want it to be, but I have some conflicts. I will be on, because the inaugural is around Thanksgiving, isn't it? I have a few cruises coming up this month. I will be on Star Princess next week. I don't even know what day it is. The 7th. I'll be on Star Princess on the 7th. And then I get right off Star Princess, and I haven't announced this. Channel members know this. I will be boarding another luxury cruise. I will be on Crystal Cruises for a few days. And then I get home. Ron and I have a cruise together that I'm not announcing. And then I will be on board another cruise line new to me, which is Azamara. I'll be on Azamara Quest, which is going to be one of those itineraries, very port intensive, leaving from Barbados. So it's like these inaugural sailings happen, they pop up. Sometimes they add preview sailings and things in front, but I plan my schedule so far out that sometimes it's hard to juggle things. And I wasn't going to pass up Crystal Cruises because that was a great opportunity that I received, and then Azamara as well. All right, so food. What else? So yeah, specialty dining, I would definitely recommend. I would recommend just doing the more at sea. This is another thing too. So like I have more at sea, which gives me one specialty dining for a 3-night cruise. So last night when I went to the Asian restaurant, she said, "Oh, I see that you have a reservation at the steakhouse," and I said, "Yes." She said, "Okay, I'm going to use your." She said, "I'm going to use your more at sea." For tonight's dinner since you're dining here first. And I said, well, what's the cost of dining here? Well, at the Asian restaurant, it's $50. Now it's all you can eat. Really good. I mean, you get sushi, it's really nice. Um, so she was like, this is $50. I said, well, how much is the steakhouse? And she was like, 70. I said, no, no, no. You can use my free at sea for the steakhouse because that's what I booked online. So you have to kind of make sure that you tell them, hey, use my free at sea for this option, not this option. Because if you go with the cheaper option, they use your free at sea, then that's that. But yeah, I would definitely say make sure you have more at sea, have specialty dining, because it seems like, and again, I'm speaking specifically for Norwegian Gem, not speaking for other ships, because I sailed on Norwegian Prima and the food was probably the best food, some of the best food that I've had on a cruise ship. So it just depends. That's when I say like they're very hit or miss. Um, let's see here. But no, I will not be on the inaugural sailing of Celebrity Excel. The drinks, top notch, top notch for sure. I'm not a huge drinker. Again, having them more at sea, I've tried quite a few cocktails. I don't drink them all. I just taste. Um, Not one drink was bad. I mean, delicious drinks, hands down. So there was a pineapple coconut. That's why I'm here at the mojito bar. I was hoping they were open. I had a pineapple coconut mojito here. Delicious. Oh my gosh, they have a rum cake. Rum cake. Oh my gosh, not daiquiri. What is it called? Martini. So good. I can't even think of the name of the bar, but it's near the atrium. Um, and then they have their banana rumble, which is always really good. So drinks. Oh, I had a peach Bellini at Oceans today. Delicious. So no concern with the drinks. The issue with the drinks, though, because I think most people have more at sea. I don't know if Norwegian caps how many guests can book more at sea. So if you guys are familiar with Princess Cruises has their Princess Premier, Princess Plus. They cap that. People don't realize that they cap that. I don't know if Norwegian does that. And so you'll notice that the bars, especially the bars near the pool, they'll actually have to form a line because it's so crowded, especially yesterday, embarkation day. It's not so bad right now because people are off, but I can imagine tomorrow's sea day, it's going to be busy. My recommendation would be to go to deck 6 and 7. There are like 4 or 5 bars right there. So I left the pool deck yesterday and went there, and that's where I had another drink. So with them having the more at sea, there's going to be more drinkers on board, especially for like these shorter sailings. Let's see here. But welcome into everyone here. I appreciate you taking some time on your Saturday to kind of hear my initial thoughts of Norwegian Gem.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? This is a message from the bridge. We have now completed the bunkering operation. All the decks will be open shortly, and smoking is now permitted in all the designated areas. Thank you for understanding.
Bryce says, "Hey, would you say a Caribbean cruise would be the best for first timer versus in Alaska or Europe?" Um, if you Alaska and Europe are usually bucket list cruises, I would personally recommend, but it depends on you. Depends on your travel style, your personality, kind of what you want to experience. But for the most part, most of my new clients, new cruisers, they're going Caribbean, because that's really going to give you a taste of what cruising is like. Keep in mind that the vibe for cruising Alaska and Europe is going to be very different from Caribbean, but it's going to at least get your feet wet as far as like the process of cruising, because there is a process to it. I feel like I do it like it's second nature now, but there's a process to cruising. So I personally would not want to have to deal with the stress and strain of learning those processes on a bucket list cruise. So learning, what does embarkation look like? What do I need to do when I get on board? The mustering, all of these other things. What does dining look like? How do I schedule dining? You know, Bucket list items, Alaska and Europe, you really want to just have a solid plan when you go in and be comfortable, because you want to enjoy those cruises. Not that you don't want to enjoy the Caribbean, but I would say a Caribbean cruise for a first timer. That would be my recommendation. And I would say probably 4 nights is a good tester. 3 nights is too short. 4 nights, 5 nights would be kind of the best spot to go. Gots to be real. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being a channel member for 13 months. I appreciate that. If you have any questions as I'm talking, I'm just rambling on. Feel free to ask your questions. And if you have not hit that like button for me, please hit that like button for me. Um, am I saying it right? New Jeeks Travel says, yes, my husband and I loved your video for Explorer. He is a foodie. If you are a foodie, go on Explorer for sure. I can tell you I'm on Explorer um, April with Sig the Solo Cruiser for Cheryl for her group cruise. And I'm not vlogging. So don't expect any vlogs from me. I'm enjoying that cruise. That's going to be a cruise for me. I might do some social media reels or something, but I'm not vlogging. You guys got my vlog before. So I'm going to enjoy that one. How to and what's new? Welcome into NCL is my favorite cruise line. And see, guys, this is exactly why I tell you take what I say with a grain of salt. Take what, everyone, the reviews you hear, you see, you read, everyone has their own um, perception of things. So, if that's your favorite cruise line, there's a reason why it's your favorite cruise line. We all have different tastes, everyone has a different preference. I will still say that Norwegian's probably not my top cruise line. It's not even in the top five. On the go with Yellow, welcome in, welcome in. Happy Saturday to you. Bryce says, "Hey, would you consider doing a video on how to become a travel agent? The cons and pros." I get asked this question daily, like daily. I will at some point. I've done like live stream videos where I've answered some questions, but not like a concise. This is kind of what you need to know. The pros cons. I will work on that because I get that question a lot. But again, that journey is different for everyone as well. Anthony says, "What's the vibe on NCL? I'm a solo cruiser in my early 30s. Would I enjoy it?" Yes, you would. Um, there are lots of solos on board this sailing. I've talked to many. They do have the solo lounge on the ship, the solo studio. So if you book a studio cabin, then you have access to the solo studio lounge. And yeah, they have solo meetups every day, like solo activities every single day. So um, yeah, I mean, they have activities, so let's kind of get into that. So like right now it is technically a port day, so there's not a lot going on. That's why I'm live. Right now they're doing live music on the pool deck. They are going to have a line dancing class here in a little bit. They're going to do like an officers versus cruisers game at the pool. Yesterday they had bingo. Oh, I won bingo yesterday. So I called bingo, the jackpot round. But I hate this because if you guys have cruised, a lot of times the jackpot rounds are only, so it was like 2,000, but you have to call within 47 balls. So I didn't call within 47 balls, but I did call. And so it went from 2,000 to 297. So I'm like, I'll take it, but you could have given me 800 or something. But so they had bingo yesterday. They have Wheel of Fortune, which I did not get to yesterday, but they have Wheel of Fortune. They have Price is Right. They had a show last night, which was really, really good. My only issue, this kind of talking about the ship, the theater is huge, probably one of the largest theaters I've seen on a cruise ship, but the seats aren't comfortable. The seats look like they probably have not been changed in this 18, 19 years that the ship has been here. So they sit kind of low and they're very soft. And there's also no sort of handrail or anything. And because the seats are so low, like people were struggling trying to walk the stairs. So just be mindful of that. But the show was amazing. The casino treated me pretty well last night too. So the casino, now the casino is full on smoke. They do have a non-smoking casino at the nightclub, which is just like maybe 10 slots, no tables. But the casino is pretty much open for smokers. Not a fan of that. So yeah, so they have a lot of activities by the pool deck. They also have like wine tastings. Like right now, there's some sort of cocktail and chocolate tastings going on. They have trivia. They have, so this has always been one of my complaints about Norwegian is I felt like there wasn't enough for me to do. They have what you call freestyle cruising. So there's no rules for anything. You go where you want to go when you want to go. Like dinner, you can, like there's no formal night. So you dress however you want to dress. So it's very freestyle. And in the past, I've kind of felt like there weren't enough activities for me, but there's actually a lot going on for this ship. Way more activities than I recall being on the other ships. And I feel like the people on board, maybe because it's a shorter sailing, they're very active. And that makes it fun for me. What else? So trivia. They have movies, not on deck. The movies are being shown because you know what? I don't think there's a movie screen. Yeah, there's not a movie screen. So the movie screen is actually in the atrium. So they're doing movies there. They had art class, origami, so all kinds of activities. So there's plenty to do. I will say that there's not an adults only area. If you want something more exclusive, they do have the Haven area. You're going to pay a lot more for that if you're doing Haven. Um, but you'll have like a little exclusive deck. Let me see. Go back to see who else here. But yes, I think you would enjoy it. Welcome in Together We Travel. Appreciate you being here. Sigma Solo Cruises, what? You're not vlogging me either. You're not vlogging your own group cruise. Oh, guys, and it's so funny. I was telling Cheryl this yesterday. Um, it's a small world. So when I was in the terminal yesterday, just talking to a couple of ladies, one lady started mentioning Explora. So we started talking, and um, she was like, I'm going to be first time on Explorer. I'm gonna be on Explorer 2 in April. And I said, oh, me too. And she had no clue that I knew Cheryl. And so eventually we found out that she is actually booked for Cheryl's Sig the Solo Cruiser. I say Cheryl, but you guys know who she is. Cheryl, Sig the Solo Cruiser. Um, and she's like, yeah, she's booked. I'm booked. So that was kind of funny that we connected. So I took a picture and sent it to Sig, like, hey, here's your client and cruiser. So that was kind of awesome. It's a small world. Um, so yeah, so no, but you need to vlog your own group cruise. I'm gonna do some social media, but I'm not gonna do any like YouTube. I might do just for the ports if I do something different because some of those ports are new to me. How to and what's new says I like it because I'm a solo cruiser. Good to know. Good to know. On the go with Yellow says, how are you enjoying the ship? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Overall, I'm enjoying it. Like no major issues. The biggest issue for me is the buffet. Some of the food is just not up to par, but everything else has been really good. Says yes, you are saying it right. Thanks for asking. Uh, what's your experience on Princess? I'll get to Princess in a little bit. I want to make sure I'm talking about Norwegian. Princess overall, I love Princess. Princess would probably be in my top five. Welcome, Andrea. Thanks for being here and thanks for being a channel member. Henry says, I'm on a 6 night to Belize and Mexico in January. Nice. Keep in mind, Belize is going to be a tender port, so plan for that. Welcome in, LF McKinley. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for being a channel member. I thought you were talking about your sister Cheryl. I'm a member, but with my other YouTube account, the Inspired Home Decor. Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. No, so when I say Cheryl, yeah, my sister Cheryl, but Sig the Solo Cruiser, I know you guys probably call her Sig. Her name is Cheryl. All right. So talked embarkation, talked cabin, talked food. Food is probably the biggest issue for me right now. Not specialty dining, but just the buffet. Main dining room may be a different experience because it was a different experience with um, breakfast this morning. Um, what else? Internet. Internet has been pretty well. Keep in mind that if you do them more at sea, you're only getting 150 minutes. So you'll need to make sure you log out so that you can, preserve your minutes. Um, you will need your device. I was talking with a couple earlier, this actually at breakfast, and they were disappointed in the fact that they needed their device for some things. Like they wanted to do prices, they wanted to do not Deal or No Deal. Well, Deal or No Deals tonight. They wanted to do Wheel of Fortune last night, and Wheel of Fortune is only on your device. So like they had left their device in their cabin, and they were frustrated that they needed their device. So then they were concerned thinking they were going to have to use their minutes for that. And I said, oh, you don't have to use your minutes for that. And it tells you that. So just understand that. But yes, make sure you log out so that you um, don't waste all your minutes. I would say also upgrade. Once I got on board, because I upgraded to the unlimited, I can't do 150 minutes of Wi-Fi. So I did the unlimited, and once I signed in on board, they did give me an option to add on a second device if I wanted to. I opted out. It was like 60% off, but you can interchange internet. So like I'm going between my laptop and my phone because I did do some work. They have a really, really nice library on board with desks. The issue is there's no outlets, but they have a nice library with desks. So I was there working for a couple hours this morning. Uh, Alexis, welcome in, says, I hope you're having fun. I will be in Jacksonville for Carnival Elation next weekend. Yeah, Carnival Elation is an oldie but goodie, is what I refer to it as. We were on board Carnival Elation Christmas 2023, 2022. So I do have a vlog series from Carnival Elation. I think it's a cute ship. Um, my only thing with that is there's no dining other than um, main dining room and buffet pretty much. Guys Burgers, Blue Iguana, you still have that, but there's no specialty dining on Carnival Elation. But have a good time. Um, Says, "Hey girl, welcome in." Oh my gosh, I don't want to mess your name up. Would you say that Baja is overrated and ghetto? I think so. What do you mean? What do you mean by Baja? Are you talking about Mexico? Dark Theme says, "Hello, wealth and knowledge, RacQuelle. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here." Bryce says, "I hate that with NCL, like why count our minutes?" Yeah, yeah, it should be unlimited. But I will say, upgrading my Wi-Fi for this 3-night cruise, I think I paid $57 for it to make it unlimited, so it wasn't terrible. Lake Cupid, welcome in, says, "I'm booked on Gem for New Year's Eve 26th through 27. Yes, this far in advance for monetary reasons." Totally understand that. Respect that as well. I recommend people book in advance. Gives you time to pay on it. So yeah, no issue with that. Says, "I'm happy to know they have another cruise ship out of Jacksonville. I love that port. It is an easy port to access. So um, access is pretty like I said, 20 minutes from the airport or whatever. So not bad at all. The issue was the Uber cost. I don't know if it's always going to be like that. I'll find out whenever I get off the ship to see if they're still that expensive because I have to Uber quickly when we dock because I have a 9:40 flight. Um, Liam says, "Hey, Recall, how is Norwegian Gem so far?" Welcome in, Liam, and thanks for being a channel member. That's what I'm talking about now as we go through this. If you guys don't mind hitting that like button for me, we have 92 people watching and only 39 likes. So it'd be great if we can get those likes up. Let me know if you have any specific questions about Norwegian Gem. But yeah, the internet has been pretty reliable. I'm currently connected to the internet. So it's been pretty reliable. It's easy to interchange between devices. So really no issues with that other than if you have minutes, make sure you log out so that um, make sure you log out that way you're not using your minutes. There is a kids club on board. Forgot the name of it. There is a kids club. It's for ages 3 to 12, 4 to 12, and then they have the teens club 13 to 17. They're kind of connected, limited capacity. So I can imagine there's going to be a lot of kids on these short sailings. There are a lot of kids currently on board. And the way the lady explained it to me, it's kind of like what happened with us on Royal once. It's like there's going to be a wait list. So make sure you get your kids enrolled because once they reach capacity for whatever age group, that's all they can have in the kids club. So keep that in mind. But the kids club, I mean, it was very basic. There wasn't a whole lot in there. But me personally, I'm all for a kids club that doesn't have like devices and things because kids do that enough. So when they're cruising, it's okay to make friends, play games, things like that. So it's a basic kids club, but good for the kids. Um, Anthony's Journey, welcome and says, "I got on the Carnival Festival transatlantic maiden voyage for $500 for $500 onboard credit with the casino offer." I'm so excited. That is awesome. That is awesome. People kept asking me if I was gonna do that. I can't do a transatlantic. That's not my vibe. It's not. I don't know if I ever will. People keep asking me if I will. It's just too many sea days. I'm not a sea day person. One sea day on the cruise, I'm good. That's all I need. And I prefer that to be the last day. uh, Says, "I only said this because I went 3 times and all times were horrible." I mean, I wouldn't call it ghetto, but if it's not your vibe, then I would say definitely look at something different. Big Murph's Life, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being a channel member. It says, "I hear some people say more at sea and free at sea. What's the main difference?" We don't know. Us travel agents don't know. They're changing it again next week, the 5th. They're changing it again. So it used to be called free at sea, but they were getting a lot of slack because it's technically not free. So the issue would be is like I would have clients that would say, "Hey, I want to book Norwegian. They have this free deal." So it's just semantics. So they would say, "I have this free deal where I can get Wi-Fi and I can get this, this, and this." And then they're like, "But I see this price on the website." But when I quote them with the free at sea, the costs increase. And the reason the costs increase is because you're paying the service charge on the drinks, you're paying the service charge on your specialty dining. So there's service fees involved that are probably more than you would normally pay service fees for. So you might pay, what is it, 250, 260 or so for a 7 night cruise. And they're like, well, that's not free. Well, it is, but it's not. So people were getting confused by the free because it's really not. And then specialty dining, people were under the impression that there were too many stipulations with the free at sea, or there's still a lot of stipulations. Um, so they would think, oh, I get free specialty dining, but yeah, it's limited. Or they say, oh, I get free shore excursions. No, you don't. You get $50 off per cabin per port. And honestly, those excursions are so high priced that $50 is like a coupon. Um, so yeah. And then the Wi-Fi. So people get confused thinking, oh, I have free Wi-Fi. Yeah, and you got 75 minutes of free Wi-Fi. So it's more semantics. So then they changed it to more at sea, meaning you're getting your basic cruise experience. We're going to add in a little bit more. And it was the exact same product of free at sea, but they just changed it from free to more. Well, they're changing it again. So on November 5th, I can't give all the details of the change because they asked us not to. Just know that there's going to be an announcement made. I think some have already released it. I think they said for us to wait till the 5th or the 3rd, maybe. Maybe it's the 3rd, where they're going to change the name again. But it's going to be pretty much the same thing. Um, let's see here. Liam says, is this changing your feel of Norwegian, or is it the same as the other Norwegian ships? It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed my thought as Norwegian not being my favorite cruise line. It's still not. Um, I do like the vibe of this ship. I would say out of the ones I've sailed on, I like the vibe of this one. And it could be that it's a shorter cruise. It is a very busy cruise, very busy, lots going on, lots of people. Um, the just for those of you who are just now popping in, just to give you an idea, I mentioned how the drinks were delicious. I mentioned how the buffet absolutely sucked. Talked about specialty dining being good. Make sure you get specialty dining. Embarkation is kind of slow at the moment. I anticipate that getting quicker. It's just because there's no where to sit in the terminal, and so you're like just steady flowing in traffic, trying to get through all your checks. Um, the cabin is comfortable, but the bathroom has a smell. What else did I mention? Internet's good. Drinks are delicious. There's two large pools, which the deck space is really nice the way they have things set up here. I love that they have a lot of tables on the main pool deck. So you don't have to, like, I'm not the type to lounge in a lounge chair. I want to sit upright. And so I appreciate that there are lots of tables outside. I think that's about it. Entertainment has been wonderful. The live music was great. The show was great last night. They had Wheel of Fortune last night, Deal or No Deal tonight, and I think tomorrow is Price is Right. So all of that has been wonderful. I won bingo, hit a little money in the casino, so it's all good. But will this change my mind to say Norwegian's at the top of my list? They still aren't. I have a group of 55 cabins going to Greece on Norwegian. Norwegian is still not at the top of my list. And I'm very honest with you all. I'm very honest with those who are on my group. I don't have like a major issue with Norwegian, and this is what I try to explain to people. I cruise so much. This is cruise number 81. I've been on pretty much all the major cruise lines multiple times. Every cruise line cannot be the best. Every cruise line cannot be at the top. And I would even rank, for me, Norwegian beneath like Carnival. So right now, the top for me, you guys should know, is Explore Journeys. Then I'm gonna go with Celebrity Cruises. Then, and it keeps changing depending on how I'm cruising. But I say Explore Journeys, Celebrity Cruises, probably Princess. Royal Caribbean's jumped up there for me lately. Royal Caribbean and Carnival are kind of there together. Actually, I don't know. I might have to just do a listing again. Virgin Voyages is making its way up there too for me. And then Norwegian probably comes after all that. Holland America comes before Norwegian. So just to give you an idea. Is your destination the Caribbean? Yeah, we're currently in Grand Bahama. I didn't get off because the tours, Norwegian's tours are extremely high. And I was unsure whether I wasn't sure if I was coming on this cruise because of Hurricane Melissa. I wasn't sure what the aftermath was going to be. And then I've highlighted this like 3 or 4 times. There's really not a whole lot to do here. And so I was like, I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do. So I was like, I'll just make this like a sea day for myself. So I worked for a few hours this morning. And, but yeah, we're docked. We're here till 7:30, and this is the only port. But typically, this sailing is going to go to Great Stirrup Cay, which is their Great Stirrup Key, which is their private destination, private island. It's going to go to Freeport, Nassau, and I think Bimini. Yvonne says, speaking about Wi-Fi, even though they give you a certain amount of time, but I always pay an extra 179 for streaming. Yeah, and that extra fee depends on the sailing. I think I paid 57 for this 3-night cruise. Autobot Diva welcome in says, I haven't had a bad meal on NCL. See, and that's what I'm telling you guys. Everyone has a different experience. I can tell you, I talked to a lot of people today, and a lot of people are not impressed with the food, especially at the buffet. The main dining room I will try for dinner. I did have breakfast there, and that was good today. But that only came because of the bad experience I had at the buffet. Oceans was really, really good. The wings were a little rubbery, but the Asian restaurant, is it, I can't think of the name of it. The Asian restaurant was surprisingly like really, really good. And it was empty. Like people didn't know it was even there. So yeah. So Autobot Diva says she hasn't had a bad meal in NCL. So it's all about personal preference. We all have our own, experiences and our own tastes. All right. So what else? So I've talked entertainment. I've talked Wi-Fi. The ship itself is clean, extremely clean. I haven't gone anywhere where like it was a bad smell or where it was dirty. Not at all. So the ship is very well maintained for this age. So I'm really impressed with the layout of the ship. I'm impressed with. No, let me take this back. I'm not a fan of there not being like one solid atrium, but that's not a deal breaker. Um, so there's like two smaller atriums that span two, maybe three decks. Um, but the ship itself, the layout of it is really really nice. Um, what else? What else? What else? Liam says, I've heard the meals on Norwegian were good. I haven't been on Norwegian since early '90s. Yeah, and I hear mixed things. I will tell you, Norwegian Prima had some of the best food. I absolutely love their indulge food hall. Oh my gosh, the Indian food there. I had even the main dining room on Prima was really good. Buffet I think was basic, but nothing, nothing bad. Kimberly says, "Do you have to pay for the Asian place?" Yeah, but if you have more at sea, where you get like 1 to 4 specialty dining included, you can use that. So the way the more or free at sea works is if you are doing a short cruise. Don't quote me on this, but it's something like this. It's like a scale. So if you're doing like 5 nights or less, you get one. If you're doing, let me take that back. If you're doing 3 or 4 nights, it's one specialty dining. If you're doing 5 or 6, it's two specialty dining. If it's 7 to 10 nights, you get three specialty dining. And then if it's 11 nights or more, you get four specialty dining, something like that. So then that makes it included. And I feel like where they're putting the effort for the food is at specialty dining. I will let you guys know how, what's the steakhouse? Cagney's goes tonight. I have Cagney's tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to be at the main dining room to try that out. Yvonne says, I'm not a fan of NCL, but they do have large rooms on the Prima and Viva. I've not been on the newest ship yet. If you've been on Prima and Viva, you've been on the newest ships. The newest one is Aqua. But those, I mean, Prima and Viva are, if you that's all you've cruised, I would say keep cruising Prima and Viva in that class. How to and what's new says, oh yes, the Indulge Food Hall in Prima was wonderful. I ate there several. I think I ate there daily. They had. I remember the. Oh my gosh, I love Indian food. The Indian food, I had that every day. There was like a barbecue spot. I think they had some good things there. Yeah, I think I was there every day. It says Princess Cruise in January. It's my second favorite cruise line. Yeah, Princess is where it's at. I mean, I have not had a bad experience on Princess, um, even like on the older ships. So no issues with Princess. Uh, Have you been in those two-story rooms? I have not. So this sailing is at full capacity. A lot of times when I get on board, starting to, it's actually kind of cool. Like I'm starting to get a crew that recognize me, and just from like just YouTube. And so sometimes I can go to guest services and say, hey, I'm a cruise content creator or travel advisor or whatever. Is it possible for me to take a peek at this or that, if it's available? I did go to ask, and every cabin is full on the sailing. I couldn't even get into the haven. So I was like, can I just get a sneak peek at the haven? Because sometimes what happens is when you first get on board, a lot of times those spaces are open, and they'll like keep it open. And this is like just a quick trick for those of you who are content creators. A lot of times those exclusive spaces are open, for people to kind of just look at for a couple of hours during embarkation day. And so usually I try to go first thing to those places, but I don't even know what I did yesterday. I can't even remember. Um, so yeah, I missed the Haven. And then by the time I went to guest services to ask, they were like, no, unfortunately they couldn't, because they didn't want, and I understand it. They didn't want, because by that time guests are settled in, they didn't want me to go there and then have a camera, which I totally understand and respect. But no, I have not. K Beat says cruise NCL Spirit to Japan and South Korea last night, and food was a huge miss. Lots of others complain about the food as well. Bread is consistently hard as a rock. Silk Asian restaurant was amazing. Yeah, we're gonna be on NCL. Oh, I can't announce that. I can't announce that yet. For my 100th cruise, we're doing something big. I'll just say that. So yeah, huge mess. That's disappointing, but it's good to hear that the Asian restaurant was good. Liam says, when you show the ship, it looks like a good, decent sized ship. It really is. I was expecting it to be smaller than what it is, but it's a nice size. I'm trying to think of where it compares. Let me give you a Carnival ship that it might compare to. Mm, it might be the length of like Carnival Conquest, like that class of ship. Might be about that size. That's what I think. But welcome into the 100 plus of you guys watching. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button for me. And if you are new here, I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures. I'm currently on board Norwegian Gem, um, for the very first sailing out of Jacksonville, Florida. It is repositioning seasonally here in Jacksonville. Um, Jacksonville has only had Carnival Elation cruising out of there for years. And so this is new for Jacksonville. Jacksonville is home for me. So I said I had to get on board. It says 100th cruise booked the two-story. No, we actually have a destination in mind for the 100th cruise. The 100th cruise right now is slated, if my schedule keeps it where it is, it's slated for um, November. I'm slowing down my cruising a little bit next year. So just a little bit, because I'm going to be doing different types of cruising. If you've been following, I will be doing a river cruise, a small river cruise group in December of next year. So I'm trying to do different things. So um, because of that, there's an added cost. So I have to cut back on some other things. I thought it would be the same size as Elation to go under that bridge. I think it's a little bit bigger than Elation, a little bit bigger. Jim will be in Tampa next year. Yeah. Someone else mentioned that, said that it's going to be in Jacksonville through April, and then does it go? Is that when it goes to Tampa, or does it go to Europe? I thought it went to Europe or Alaska. It says river cruise is on my bucket list. Have an amazing time. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Going to Colombia. Would you do Holland America Eurodom or Star Princess for Alaska? All right, this is the thing. All right, so Holland America Eurodom is it is an older ship. Star Princess is a newer ship. So you're gonna have to ask yourself, are you more concerned with the destination or the ship? You're going to get similar experiences for Holland America and Princess as far as what they offer for Alaska enrichment. They're going to bring naturalists, environmentalists on board. They're going to bring Alaska to you on the cruise ship. You're going to go to similar port. No, take that back. If you're going, you said Star. If you're going Star, that means you're going to be leaving out of Seattle because Star Princess is too big to take some of the other routes. So you would be kind of stuck with like that Juneau, Ketchikan, what is it? Juneau, Ketchikan, Skagway. That if you do Holland Eurodam, I think that leaves from Vancouver. If you do that one, you have a chance to go through Glacier Bay. Holland America is one of the only cruise lines that has licensing to actually go through Glacier Bay, even over Princess. So if Glacier Bay is important to you, I would go with the older ship. And there's reasons why a lot of Alaska itineraries have the older ships because they're smaller. They can get through those canals. They can get to the glaciers. So if you go with the new ship, you're going to have a really nice experience on board because it's a beautiful ship, but the destinations are going to look a little bit different. You're probably also going to have a longer port time with Holland than Princess, slightly longer, because they have preference in some ports. Princess does too, though. Yeah, that's a tough one. Liam says, so Icon class wouldn't fit in Jacksonville. No, not at all. Not at all. We would have tore that whole thing down. New Year's Eve next year is out of Tampa. Okay. So then that means when it leaves in April, I think it's going to Europe or it's going to Alaska, and then it's going to position to Tampa. I'll have to research all these changes. All right. What time is it? All right. I got about 5 more minutes or so. If you have any last minute questions, I did just want to go live and give you guys my first impressions of this ship. I will have full vlog coming out soon at some point, but just wanted to kind of answer questions because I've got a lot of questions on social media about it. Um, and so let's see what's coming up today. So it's 3:30. I have dinner at like 6, I think, at the steakhouse. I think I'm gonna work for a little bit, probably grab another drink, and yeah, it's kind of a chill day with it being a port day. So port days, typically the ships don't do a lot because they expect people to be off in port. So that's kind of what's happening right now and why I've just been kind of chilling. But I think I've pretty much explored all of the parts of the ship. It's a nice ship. It really is. So I would say if you are looking to book Norwegian Gem, whether it's out of Tampa or out of Jacksonville, wherever it's going to be, it's a good ship for Norwegian. Like I said, the food is just a little hit or miss for me, just a little hit or miss. But the drinks have not missed at all. At all. Liam says so. It's at the same Carnival terminal. Yeah. So there's only one dock or one spot for Jacksonville, and Carnival will go there, and so will Norwegian. So they'll be alternating, schedules or whatever. So, yeah, they're at the same spot. So their only cruises out of Jacksonville are NCL and Carnival. That is correct. So it's only been Carnival, now Norwegian, and it's just Norwegian Gem. It says, I just thank you for being honest and more than informative. You are so welcome. And this is the way I see it. Like, because some people could say, if you talk negatively about, this ship, you might lose clients or you might have people, or in this case, I have a group coming with me. They could be like, I'm going to cancel. I didn't say anything too terrible. I said that some of the food is hit or miss. That might be the case on the best cruise ship or the biggest, nicest cruise ship. But in my mind, it's like I'd rather be upfront with you about my experience. I'd rather you make that decision for yourself on the front end than be on the ship with me. And I've already prepped you that this is my impression, and now you're mad at me because you felt like you weren't made aware, or you didn't know, or you felt it would be different. So yeah, I share my experience as it is. Liam says, so what I have to look forward to in Greece is the drinks on the ships. But let me say this too, and I mentioned this in the beginning. Greece experience is going to be different than this ship, than this sailing, um, because you're going to be in Europe. So I would think that the food would be a little different. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. The vibe of the people is going to be different. It's not going to be as upbeat as like a Caribbean cruise. So it's going to be a different feel all over. I really want, like in my vlog, to show the ship itself because people were curious to know, well, what does this ship look like? It's an older ship? Is it well maintained? Yes, it is. How's the crew? The crew's been phenomenal. No issues with the crew at all. Like everything about the ship is great. The food is just hit or miss, but that's going to be the case with any any cruise ship. Internet's been good. Drinks have been great. So really no big complaints. Um, so yeah, and what you have to look forward to in Greece, Liam, is going to be the 140 or so of us joining you, and the fact that we're going to be doing some fun things there in Greece in the ports, um, and yeah, you'll have plenty to eat. Gerald says I'll be spending 10 days on the gym. Hope it goes well. Hope you have a great time. Let's see here. Savvy Boy just says, thanks for the info always. Hopefully the Jewel has the pineapple coconut mojito. Yes. That, and then as for the rum, they only have it at one bar. I have to remember the name, but I don't know if they have the same bars. But it's one of the bars inside, and they have a rum cake martini. I'm gonna get one of those right now. Hopefully I'll see you on the high seas one day. One day. King Hero says you're watching the ads. You better get premium. I can't do the ads, y'all. And yes, the ad revenue pays us. I can't do the ads. So if you purchase premium, then it doesn't have any effect on ad revenue and things like that. But I think one day Ron was logged in on our television, and like ads were coming. I'm like, what is that? And he was like, oh, when I watch YouTube, I have to see these ads, and I'm like, this is what those look like. So yeah, I have premium, so I don't have to watch those. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that. K Beat says, sailed on the Gem in 2012 for my husband's 50th birthday when it was fairly brand new. Had a great time. The ship was really nice. Awesome. It is a nice ship. How to and what's new says, when is the Greek cruise? The Greek cruise is um June of 2027. June 12th through, no, that's this year, isn't it? I don't know. Liam, what's the dates for the for the Greece cruise? I don't know. I'm thinking 12th through the 19th, but that's our sisters cruising abroad for this upcoming June. I don't know. Sometime in June 2027. Is it the 20th? No, don't get me lying. No, it's June 6th through the 13th. Like, don't get me lying. I can't keep track. On board Norwegian Gem. On Norwegian Gem. Uh, King Nara says, thanks for your honesty and clarity of how you go about ranking the different cruise lines. Yeah, and it's tough because I get that question all the time. It's tough to rank cruise lines. When I've cruised all of these cruise lines, they all have different offerings. So it's hard because they're also in mix of classes. So you have like your entry level cruise lines like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, some of the, and then you have the more premium lines, which would be NCL. NCL is considered a premium cruise line. So NCL, Princess, Celebrity. I'll be very honest, I wouldn't even put NCL in the premium. That's just me. If I were to rank them based off class, I wouldn't rank NCL premium, but the drinks are premium. um, let's see. But yeah, so it's kind of tough when I get asked that, what's your favorite cruise line? It's hard because there's so many different attributes for each cruise that I might love this of this cruise line, but not like this. So it's really hard to rank them. Um, says you have to have an open mind for that side of the world. It's going to be a different experience in the Caribbean. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's anywhere you travel. What's the best place to fly out for a Hawaii cruise? California. I've never gone to Hawaii. I'm gonna say California. Thank you, Liam. Yes, June 6th. Would you consider Hawaii cruise in the future? It's on NCL. The only cruise ship. So I would not do a Hawaii cruise on any line but Norwegian for this reason. They are the only cruise line that's doing the inner islands. So I'm not, again, about sea days, so I'm not going to take a 15-night cruise to go to Hawaii and have three ports. I'm not doing that. So when and if I do go to Hawaii, it will, unless there's a different ship operating during that time, it will be on Norwegian NCL Pride of America. That is the only ship that is doing Hawaii like that. I don't know why, but they are the only ones. So I would consider, but I kind of want to wait to see if another ship's going to go. Thank you so much, Esther says, yeah, the 6th to the 13th. All right. Alaska Air has good prices to Hawaii. Good to know. Good to know. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up here. I do appreciate you guys spending some of your Saturday with me as I share my thoughts. Event says, "Quick question: What were you drinking on your thumbnail? Looks tasty." You know, I don't know drinks. What picture was that? Oh, was that the one in the NCL cup? It said, yes. That was the Banana Rama. That is like one of their signature drinks, and they repurpose banana peels for that. So they recycle them and to reduce waste, and it's like one of their signature pool drinks, and it's very tasty. Yvonne says, "I'm going to Hawaii in April, sailing on Pride of America. Hope you have a good time." Hope you have a good time. But Tanya, I would tell you the best drink that I've had so far on board is the rum cake martini. I will post a picture of that. I'm actually gonna leave here and go get one. Um, the rum cake martini. It's like a creamy. So I like rum. Between rum and tequila, those are my go-to drinks, or liquors, I should say. But it's creamy, and I love rum cake. So it had like a little cake taste, and it was creamy. Yeah, yeah. They repurposed the banana peels. I'll have to share that as well, um, to help with, I guess, trying to reduce waste. So they have like a little blurb about it in the menu, but it's actually really good. All right, all right. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm gonna go ahead and get back to it. I have dinner in a couple hours, so I'm gonna kind of just chill. But tonight, tonight's Love and Marriage, and there's some live entertainment I plan to go to. There's I don't know if I'm gonna do Deal or No Deal. I've captured that enough on other ships, and I never win, so I'm like, might not waste money on that. Um, Tomorrow's a sea day, so we'll see what the sea day brings. I will post on Facebook today's activities. I posted yesterday's just so you have an idea, because again, I've said before that the reason I wasn't a huge fan of NCL because I felt like there wasn't a lot of activities, and since I've sailed, I would say that there's a lot more activities on this than I've seen before. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna post that here in a little bit. Is that what it's called? Banana Rumble? Yes. What did I call it? Something else. I know I didn't call it that. It says I was going to go to the rum cake factory, but it was raining. I didn't get off the ship in Nassau. Oh, you got to get rum cake. Yeah, the rum cake martini is delicious. Yep, I'm headed there now. I'll post a picture on social media so you guys can see it. It says the Crown's Edge was closed. Too windy on my sailing. We'll try in December and Star. Oh, it says have a great evening. Enjoy those drinks. Don't let Ron know he's watching. You know he's watching. But no, I've cut back on. I don't drink a lot, and so even when I'm cruising and I have the drinks included, I sip. I don't really drink like full drinks. I like to try different drinks, just to see what's out there. And I have to because it causes me to flare up if I drink too much or have too much sugar. And with me having as many cruises as I have this month, particularly, and I have drink packages for every cruise. Banana Rama. Thank you. What did I call it? Is it Banana Rama? Banana Rumble? Banana something. It's really good. I like anything banana flavored too. But thank you so much, Keisha H. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate you listening in the background. Uh, King Nero says, I was on a cruise in July, and due to the weather, we couldn't see one of the highlights of the cruise when booking. An open mind